Hello, everybody. Relationships, partnerships. These are some of the most challenging aspects of an organization, but they're certainly not impossible. I thought I'd spend a couple minutes talking about relationships and partnerships, especially when you have mergers and acquisitions. One of the things we often talk about with relationships and partnerships is you have two or more people coming together, and those people form almost like a third. So you have one circle and two circles, and you combine them, and between them you have some similarities. So whether it's a merger or an acquisition or simply just a partnership, what is really important is that the two circles or the two groups or two teams that you're going to combine, they have to have, and the most important part here that I would talk about is commonalities. They have to have some commonalities that are going to allow those organizations to function once these two groups or two halves come together. Commonality certainly is more beneficial when it's language, histories, customs. All the three of those form the basis of a relationship, and if you can have that as a basis for a relationship, then you really can do well about promoting the organization in general. You'll get the greatest consequence, positive of course, greatest consequence out of an organization if you have those types of commonalities between them. But when you look at how we can make partnerships and relationships better in organizations, human resources play such a key role here. And some may ask how, and so here I would really kind of promote a couple things. First is human resources has to be very aware of where the organization is going to go forward. When these two groups or organizations coalesce and combine, you have to have a good understanding of where they're going to go. And this is where the importance of human resources will come up. Human resources should be able to tell senior management whether this is going to be a plan that works, whether the consequence of joining these two disparate groups in some ways is going to work. And specifically, they're going to look at a couple things. They're going to look at both cultures. They're going to research the cultures of both entities. Are these cultures that are going to work well together? For instance, there are some cultures in Europe where one gender is very dominating or domineering and the other is not. And so if you have the domineering gender of one country and then another country where they're maybe even domineering or not domineering, it could be a very cultural mismatch and it just won't work out. Those are some of the culture areas that are very hard to overcome. So that's one that you would look at. The second, probably the most important, is skills. You have to look at the skills between the two. The reason we have partnerships is because while each half may be successful, there's a thought by the two halves joining together, it can create a behemoth. The commonalities between the two, the skills of each two, the abilities of each two, when they come together, is going to be so much more pronounced. A great example is, and it's kind of a weird example, but I think it's a great example, is you may have a star or superstar, and they're a star in their own right. But when they meet somebody else who's just as much a star and they start dating and maybe get married, the combination of them is just a tremendously much more aware, a famous person. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie is one. And you can have just a ton of them where even the short-term ones where they come together and they're so much more famous. David Beckham and his wife Victoria, each were a star in their own right, but coming together and they create this big behemoth. But the point is that you get the skills of each, you put them together, and the end result is you have a much more advantageous whole. So that's what we do in partnerships, is you look at the directions, and then human resources really has such a key role to make this work. You're going to research the culture and research the skills and see if this really is going to be a partnership that is going to generate the positive results that you think it will. We'll talk more about it as the week progresses, but I hope everybody does well and certainly look forward to chatting with y'all. Thanks.